At midfield, from Virginia, number 34, Briggs. On defense, from Maryland.
Six is Buckley. Okay.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing. Here to present the colors is the color guard from the USS Constitution.
You're looking at Cannon superstar Paul Rabel leading his Boston team onto the field at Harvard Stadium. Can they? You're looking at Cannon superstar Paul Rabel leading his Boston team onto the field at Harvard Stadium. Can they snap their drought? They are 0-3. They're facing the defending champion Bayhawks riding high at 3-0. It's a beautiful night at 110-year-old Harvard Stadium in Boston, Massachusetts. And the Cannons face the Chesapeake Bayhawks. Hi once again, everybody. I'm John Mita-Perrell. It's great to have you with us. I'm joined by Ron Zwerin. And Ron, a tale of two teams headed in opposite directions. The Cannons winless and Chesapeake is undefeated. What gives tonight?
Well, I'll tell you what, Boston cannot afford to go 0-4. Chesapeake, they're looking at this pretty much as another game. If they can get this and go to 4-0, put Boston down to 0-4, they're going to be in good position.
And a guy the Cannons are going to have to stop is Ben Rubier, who leads the league in scoring, a dynamic presence.
Ben Rubier has just been absolutely ripping it up all season long. And the funny thing is, he's not necessarily their name guy on their team. He's just one of many, but he has certainly been putting the ball in the back of the net all season long. As far as Boston is concerned, it really starts and ends with Ryan Boyle. Ryan Boyle is the quarterback. He sees the field so well. Right here he finds Paul Rabel. That was his 399th point. This one right here was his 400th point. That set the all-time MLL record. As Ryan Boyle goes, so do the Boston Cannons.
Certainly going to be a fun matchup. The Cannons with a lot on the line in this early season bout. And the Chesapeake Bayhawks, they are large and they're in charge right now at 3-0. We're coming up with more next.
The game knows me, inside and out. It's taught me that victory is forged not just by the power of your shot,
Boston has its first loss of the season,
but the strength of your conviction. It taught me I could turn the impossible into the instinctual. My story is Lacrosse's story, and the next chapter starts now.
Scores! A two-point bomb for Rabel. In front, there's Lowe! He fires and scores! Kevin Lowe! 4 seconds left. Inside the pass. Quizzani! He scores! Quizzani with a buzzer beater!
I'm Evan Washburn, host of Inside the MLL, your home for everything Major League Lacrosse. Each week for 30 minutes, we're taking you through the league, recapping what's happened while also looking forward. Along with in-depth features this season, more than any other year, we're bringing you the voices and faces of the game to break down the biggest storylines and also the weekend's biggest games. We really look forward to catching you all season long on CBS Sports Network.
This telecast of Major League Lacrosse is presented by Coke Zero. Two amazing things combined to make one super amazing thing. Coke Zero, enjoy everything. And by Warrior, proud to be the official equipment, footwear, and apparel supplier of the MLL. Visit Warrior.com today. Warrior, cross the line. Boomers ready? Are the Boston Cannons ready? Their mascot is jacked up, as are the fans. They expect a crowd north of 10,000 on a beautiful evening for lacrosse, a Chamber of Commerce day in the city of Boston. Welcome back, everybody. John Mita-Perrell with Ron Zwerin as we take a look at Kip Turner, the veteran goalie for this Chesapeake team at 2-0 with a 4 goals against average. That's an incredible number. We'll get into that in a little bit. On the other side for Boston, Mike Gable gets the start, his second start, as Jordan Burke remains on the 2-game injured reserve list. And Gable, out of UVM in 2005, has played pretty well in his spot duty for the Boston Cannons. The head coach of the Cannons, Steve Duffy, in his second year. They won 9 games last year, winless this year. So he's a guy that might be a little embattled at the moment. And for Chesapeake, anything but embattled. Dave Cottle, veteran coach, used to coach at the University of Maryland, has done a tremendous job. He's also the team president. So they are in good hands, and the Cannons are in good hands as well. But this should be an intriguing matchup, Ron. Great to see you. And what do you expect to see out of both teams?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see how Boston comes out and reacts. I mean, they are 0-3. They're the team that needs to be a little bit more aggressive. They've been struggling, getting off to a good start, winning that faceoff. They're going to have to stay aggressive all game long. as far as Chesapeake is concerned, yeah, they're 3-0, but they're not content being 3-0. You get a sense this team is really hungry. They want to get that 4-0. It doesn't really matter who they're playing.
Cannons with the ball. The faceoff won by Chris Eck. He's now 23 out of 53 in faceoffs this year, and that's a number that has to improve for them to be effective. Cannons with the ball inside the arc as the ball is whacked out of the arms of the Cannons. And the Cannons, Michael Stone, is one of their top midfielders. Loose change, attempt to scoop up by the Bayhawks. Now whacking from behind is Paul Rabel. Now Chesapeake has control. Matt Abbott with it on the far side. Good defending by Kyle Sweeney of Boston. And here comes the long stick. Mitch Belisle out of Cornell. Nice move past the midfield line of Matt Poske, who scored last week. He has over 200 career goals. He gets pushed over and back is the call. Poske said he got pushed from behind by Polanco, one of the top defenders in MLL. It's going to be Chesapeake on the retrigger. Dan Burns has it. Chesapeake, such a difficult team on the defensive end to beat, as they've only yielded 12 goals this year, and it's an amazing number.
Chesapeake is difficult on offense and on defense, John, because they are so big and strong up the middle. You have to be concerned about who has the ball, no matter whether you're on the offensive side or defensive side, because they can score from anywhere.
And there's one in the net. Good shot by Drew Westervelt as Chesapeake is on the board. Their attackman was one of the top, again, guys in MLL and finding the net, and he did there.
And that's his spot. I mean, he is 12 by 12. You give him 12 feet high by 12 feet out, he's going to sting the corner. He does it all the time. You cannot let Chesapeake get comfortable. You have to slide early, and you have to get the guys who their specialty is shooting at 12 by 12. You got to get them a little bit outside of that area.
Fourth goal for Westervelt, and slow starts have been a major issue for their Cannons in their 0-3 start. Let's go to your prime keys to the game, Ron. What are they?
Well, as far as Chesapeake is concerned, they really want to score in transition because that's where they're so dangerous. They certainly don't want to get cute on O&D. Just do what you're doing. Don't try and be too fancy. As far as Boston is concerned, you got to get some rhythm. They've had a rhythm the past couple of weeks, and they want to make sure that the stars, the big players, Ryan Boyle, as well as Paul Rabel, they have to step up. They have to be stars today.
Buchanan's played well with the Cannons. He has the ball inside the arc. Zipped one home. What a shot by Kevin Buchanan. Oh, he just totally surprised the goalie, Kip Turner, and that was a beauty.
You know, he's being covered by Hostetler, and Hostetler just kind of gave up on the play. Gave him a little bit too much room. You cannot give guys in this league that much time and that much space. He was expecting Brian Spalita to come up and slide a little bit earlier. A little late on the slide. Kevin Buchanan with a left-handed dart.
Buchanan scored 31 times last year for the Cannons, so he is an impressive offensive performer. Buchanan 5'11", 180 from Ohio State. Ohio State lost in the NCAA tournament earlier today to Cornell, College Park, Maryland. Face-off jockeying by Adam Rand of Chesapeake, and the visiting White. Scooping up the loose change is Boston.
Good sign early for Boston. They've won 3 straight face-offs. And, you know, Boston's going to have to control it at the X, because anytime you can give yourself an extra possession off of a goal, you can just build on that momentum. Boston's going to run fewer midfielders tonight than they normally do. They want guys to get in a rhythm. They want guys to get in a flow. They haven't had that in the first 3 weeks of the season. And if they can start generating that with guys like Sussman with the ball, they can keep this game close.
Here's a shot off the woodwork by Rabel on the far side. Good idea. Back up top it goes. Boston maneuvering well on the offensive end. Paul Rabel gunning for another score. He had 27 last year and is off to another good start this year.
And when I say keep it close, I don't mean that they've been getting blown out, but they have been getting behind early in games. And when you get behind week after week after week, it starts to wear on you. And so if you can keep the game kind of in that striking distance in the fourth quarter.
Sussman the crease dive, and he's stymied by Turner. Harry Sussman last week, Ron, was not here due to personal reasons.
And he's another dynamic player that they just need.
Got a hat trick last year against Chesapeake. Now inside, and a good save by Gable. Oh, a hot shot by Rubier. Leading scorer in the league out of Virginia. Prime candidate for MVP, but Gable was there. Here's Brian Farrell back in the action. Good pass, unable to handle is John Hayes. Brian Farrell with a 6-foot long pole. Farrell was an assistant coach at Maryland. Had to complete his duties there, and now he's back with Boston.
So if this is going to be the way it's going to be all night long, up and down action, you got to favor Chesapeake in that situation. They have bigger, stronger, faster midfielders. Boston wants to slow things down a little bit, get everybody involved in the action a little bit, slow things down. They had an opportunity there, they took advantage of it, but I think Boston's got to play a little bit slower.
Stephen Brooks with a hot shot off the side of the net. Brooks was a star at Syracuse. And scooping it up is Mitch Belisle. Nice pass past the midfield line. Here comes Brian Farrell, a burly figure. Adams, former Chesapeake Bayhawk. He gets whacked, but he finds Rabel on the far side. Rabel looking to position himself behind the net towards the end line.
This is interesting. They're inverting Paul Rabel because they want the long stick defenseman and Polanco to come and chase him.
Rabel just outside the arc. Now inside. Shot to goal. Bouncer by Paul Rabel. He's got his 9th of the season, and the Cannons take the lead.
This is good strategy because Boston has decided they know Paul Rabel needs to get the ball in space. And against Nicky Polanco, he has too much speed, too strong. Beats him on the far low side. Nicky Polanco, a great defender in this league, but against Paul Rabel, the best midfielder in this league, it's no contest.
Rabel, the face of lacrosse, is dubbed by many, although I spoke with Coach Steve Duffy of Boston before the game. He thinks that John Grant, who we'll see tonight for Chesapeake, is arguably the best lacrosse player of all time.
I might argue that, but I would say he's definitely in the top 5. It's like talking about quarterbacks, you know, who's the best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, I would definitely put Grant Jr. in the top 5, up there with Gate. Might even throw Marichek in that group, but you have so many great players. But Paul Rabel is definitely the face of lacrosse right now because he's just visible.
Right. Colin Briggs now finds Ari Sussman. That was visibility. You turn on any lacrosse game, you're going to see Paul Rabel. Sussman out of Dartmouth, 5'10", 175, finds Briggs from Virginia. Nice maneuver, back to Sussman, behind the cage, looking up top. Rabel could not let it go. Scoops up the loose change. Polanco fights him for position. There's a shot off the line by Posque, tracked nicely by Kip Turner. Good outlet to Reynolds. Momentum for the Bayhawks. Now Westervelt, who has the Chesapeake goal. They have 42 on the 60-second shot clock. Another thing to keep in mind about Chesapeake, they are outstanding from beyond the 2-point arc.
Yeah, and the guys who are big in that area are Kyle Dixon, Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt's on the field right now. You got to be careful with Ben Hunt. He's quiet for parts of the game, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're looking for the box score, and he has 2 or 3 goals. Sometimes he gets those little 2-pointers, and that could just kill a team early in the game.
12 seconds on the shot clock for Chesapeake. Hunt gets by Smalley. Quirky angle, shot past the end line. Waiting for it was the aforementioned John Grant. 3 seconds on the shot clock. And a goal! Just got it off, and they find the net. Matt Abbott, midfielder from Syracuse, has tied it up at 2 with 7:15 left in the first.
Usually when the shot clock is running down and you have 5 seconds left, you try to dump it in the corner. Not with Chesapeake. They go for the jugular.
So a good job by Chesapeake to beat the shot clock and find the net. We got a 2-2 game early on at Harvard.
Last pick in the 2004 draft, Mr. Irrelevant is what they called me. They said I should just be honored to be drafted since I was a Division III player. But they don't know me. I don't do honored, and I certainly don't do irrelevant.
Berger shoots, and he scores!
I'm Stephen Berger of the New York Lizards, and I powered through to become the 2012 MLL All-Star Game MVP. How do you power through?
Defense isn't just body blows and big hits. It's strategic. It's cerebral. It's knowing speed is just as important as strength. It's about the defense going on the offensive. It's understanding that the team that controls the ball controls the game. It's brains and brawn. Introducing the new Cyberhead, the new generation of defensive heads.
Good crowd is gathered at Harvard Stadium to watch their Boston Cannons try to get off the schneid at 0-3. Pretty good start for Boston. You saw the goal by Matt Abbott, his first of the season, as Dave Cottle, the veteran mentor, looks on. And defensive-minded Chesapeake, Ron Zwerin.
They are interestingly defensive because they went out and they got Brian Spalina and they got Nicky Polanco, some of the older guys in the league. And some people thought, well, they're gonna get extended. They're gonna get stretched too far. They won't be able to play in a phone booth in this league. But you know, these guys are really playing great team defense. You look at those numbers up and down. That talks not to individual effort, talks to team concept, guys playing together, talking things through, making sure guys are in the right place at the right time.
Kevin Buchanan has a goal. Great swing move. Lost it, though, on the turf, and it's scooped up by the Bayhawks and their goalie, Kip Turner, the former Cannon, is hacked from behind. But he gets it off past the midfield line. What a move by Chesapeake's Reynolds. Oh, we've seen some nifty stick work in the first quarter.
Buchanan absolutely torched Brian Spalina on that last drive. He'd want that back. Just got caught up in the turf a little bit.
Check by Hayes of Boston, just outside the arc. They go to Kimmel, Mike Kimmel, now behind the net, John Grant. Oh boy, what a play by Belisle. Active defending. Now a shot, a save by Gable. He tracked that well as Mike Kimmel aimed for the target. Kimmel out of Johns Hopkins. Now Smalley scoops it to Brian Farrell. Great pass inside the arc to Hayes. He's triple teamed. Spare change and check by Rabel, who gets hacked. He hits the turf hard. We got some dicey maneuvering over on the far sideline. Nicky Polanco and Sean Hayes. Hayes is the penalty minute leader in MLL, and there's the flag.
Well, Hayes was just going in to protect his all-star, and Nicky Polanco gave him the business right after the whistle. Paul Rabel was absolutely slashed on the end line. Polanco just comes in, slashes him. He gets pushed from behind by Brooks, and they're just defending this guy. Both of them are going to go and sit for a little bit.
It's hard to argue what John Hayes was doing. I wouldn't want to mess with Nicky Polanco, who's 6'4", 215, two-time MLL Defender of the Year. It's going to be 5-on-5. 5:39 to play in the first quarter.
I like the intensity that Boston has come out with. You know, they've been flat the last 3 weeks, admittedly so. And this week they're coming out with a lot of intensity, moving the ball, letting everybody get a touch.
Matching unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, both 1 minute. Kevin Buchanan now to Rabel outside the arc. Rabel, his ninth goal moments ago. Oh, behind the back. Boyle, the quarterback of the Cannons offense, couldn't find Rabel. To the far side left. Ryan Boyle, the all-time career points leader in MLL with 400. Speak to him at halftime. Stone couldn't connect with him. Here comes Chesapeake. Wide open across the midfield line is Daniel Hostetler from Georgetown. Now Matt Abbott, who scored to tie it up. 45 on the shot clock. Hostetler, near side angle, goes over the head of Gable.
These defenses play things a little different in the 5-on-5 set. Boston content to play things in a zone, whereas Chesapeake was going man-to-man, and now things are even up.
Back to all even. Mack rides.
This guy's been impressive.
He's one of the best. Good defending by the Cannon Smalley. They go behind the net to John Grant. Grant plays indoors for the Colorado Mammoth, a team you're very familiar with. Holds, shot, tried to bounce it in on Gable. Went past the end line. Now re-trigger for the Bayhawks. Shot in. Good save by Gable. And a nice cover as well, as he got good support from Nizelik. Ryan Nizelik, who's had limited duty thus far, the first 3 games. 6-foot long pole. Here he comes in the offensive flow. Finds Rabel.
Boston's getting exactly what they need out of their goalie. He's keeping him in the game, making the tough save. And defensively, they're playing Junior Grant straight up. And I like that play. I like that. I don't like giving him too much time to move around from behind the net. He's too dangerous as a shooter and as a feeder. So I like what Boston's doing early on.
There's Brent Abbott. Adams inside the arc. Buchanan back to Adams. Rabel was open. Here he comes. Nice save by Turner. Posque couldn't convert. Here comes momentum for Abbott, who's been very impressive. Boston with a golden chance run. Mack rides. Hit hard by Buchanan. Now a fight. Loose change. And here comes Boston again. Kyle Sweeney, who scored last week in their loss to Denver. Couldn't connect with Brian Farrell. 2 6-foot poles. Farrell outside the arc. Now a shot and a goal. Oh, what a beauty. Score by Matt Posque. Posque is a terrific offensive threat. He was great last week, and that was a beauty.
Posque is dangerous in front of the net. This is where he makes his home.
Take a couple looks as we head out to commercial. Matt Posque finds the back of the net. The Cannons with some momentum, up 3-2 late in the first.
I'm Evan Washburn, host of Inside the MLL, your home for everything Major League Lacrosse. Each week for 30 minutes, we're taking you through the league, recapping what's happened while also looking forward. Along with in-depth features this season, more than any other year, we're bringing you the voices and faces of the game to break down the biggest storylines and also the weekend's biggest games. We really look forward to catching you all season long on CBS Sports Network.
Seconds left. Boyle outside the arc. Inside the pass. Quizzani! He scores! Max Quizzani with a buzzer beater!
Matt Posque with a goal for the Cannons as they lead the Bayhawks 3-2. 2:28 left, first quarter, Harvard Stadium, with Ron Zwarenop, Jamita Perel, and Gable has been impressive in net in the early going run.
There's no question about it. He's been keeping them in the game. He's been making the hard saves look easy. And when your team is 0-3, you need guys who can step up and make plays. And so far early on, that's exactly what he's doing for Boston.
Jordan Burke is on the 2-game injured list. He will be back May 31st when Boston plays at Denver. They're off next week. They begin a 3-game road trip at Denver. Burke has been very consistent for the Cannons. And here's Mike Gable last week against a high-powered Denver Outlaws squad.
You know, they got behind early in that game, and they just had a hard time keeping up with Denver. You know, it wasn't Denver's top-line guys that were beating them. It was their second and third-line guys. Mundorf had a nice game. Sieverts had a nice game. But it was some of the other guys who you don't know very well. Chris Bachlet had a nice game for Denver. You know, you start looking at what Denver was doing to Boston. Boston just got behind in that game. They made a nice comeback in the third, fourth quarter, but it just was a little bit too little too late.
How about this fight for the face-off at the X-spot between Adam Rand of Chesapeake and Chris Eck. Won by Eck of Boston. Scooping it up off the field turf. Chris Eck.
Chris Eck has won all 6 face-offs tonight. Good omen for Boston.
Such an important element in any lacrosse game, winning the face-off. Here's Smalley to Sweeney. Long pull. Fouls Sweeney. Looks far side to Mike Stone.
Face-offs are so underrated. Such an important part of the game. If you can get a guy who knows how to win a face-off, especially in a critical time, keep runs going, keep momentum going, give your offense another time to touch the ball, it's so critical. It's an art as much as it is brute strength.
So rookie Di Maria on the field for Boston. He's out of Lehigh. They're high on him. Di Maria towards the crease. It's poked by Polanco. Welcome to the Bigs, kid. 4 on the Boston shot clock. Di Maria moving well. In the crease, he gets checked, and down he goes. What a charge by Di Maria.
Di Maria is going to learn in this league that as the shot clock is running down, sometimes it's better to give the ball up rather than get smashed up
and run into a goal.
And run right into the goal.
And the goal.
Yep.
Here's Reynolds for Chesapeake.
You want to score goals, not run into goals. Small distinction.
That would be appropriate.
Yes.
Under a minute to play in the first quarter. Polanco, nice lead pass for Reynolds. Top of the arc, it's Kimmel. They have 33 remaining on the shot clock. Now outside the arc. Nifty handoff to Westerveld has scored. Back they go inside, and a goal! A darting shot and a conversion by Ben Rubier. He has his first of the night, his 13th of the season. Rubier is so tough to stymie.
But you really got to appreciate what Stephen Brooks did on that game. Look on that goal. He does the sweep around the side. He finds his open man because the D didn't slide. Sweeney actually had good defense on it. Sometimes you just have to tip your cap to the guy who scores the goal.
Boston's now given up 45 goals. That's 8th and last in Major League Lacrosse. Another face-off win for Eck. He has been terrific. Farrell. Hayes with a shot and a goal. How about that, John Hayes? Good feed by Brian Farrell. Hayes was wide open far side, and he converts. John Hayes out of Division III Western New England College. Not known as an offensive threat.
And that's why winning faceoffs is so important. Eck wins the faceoff clean, gets a mini break, makes the smart play, and look how Boston is patient. They move the ball around the horn, find the open man, defense is too late to slide, and they get the equalizer. I mean, that actually gives them one goal lead. That's the reason why you need to win faceoffs in this league. You got to stop runs, you got to give yourself an opportunity just to get back in the flow right away.
Hayes has his first goal of the year. He had 3 last season. Tough customer. Here's a shot and a good tracking save by Gable. And that will end the first quarter. The shot was put on by Ben Hunt, midfielder out of North Carolina. So it was an offensive showcase for Boston. They lead the Bayhawks, who are undefeated at 3-0, 4-3. We got a good one in Boston at Harvard Stadium. Come back for the second 15 after this.
The most dedicated production recognized Checkers, TCG Network Services, and Richard Berry Trusted Partners for their support of the Cannons Care Scholarship Program. Through the generosity of these companies, student athletes in the Best Lacrosse Program will receive scholarships in the coming school year.
The 2013 Major League Championship Weekend, presented by SmartLink, will be held in Philadelphia August 24th and 25th. You can see the top 4 teams in the league battle in 3 games over 2 days to decide an MLL champion. Tickets and information, visit MajorLeagueLacrosse.com. That should be a fun weekend in Philly. It's been fun thus far for the Cannons fans as they lead Chesapeake 4-3, and Chris Eck, for second-year coach Steve Duffy, has been an important player thus far tonight, Ron.
You know, Eck has been doing a great job winning faceoffs. You can see right there, 7 wins to the 1 loss. You know, Eck and Rand know each other very well. All the faceoff guys in this league know each other. They've played against each other for years, so there aren't any tricks. Everybody knows what the other guy's going to do. It's about being a master of your craft.
And another win for Eck. He's 8 out of 9 as we begin the second quarter.
I like this matchup for Boston. I like the fact that they have Nicky Polanco trying to shut off Paul Rabel. I think that favors Boston, and now they've made the switch. They don't want Nicky Polanco covering Paul Rabel.
They got Barney Ehrman on him, 6'6", 230-pound Barney Ehrman from Georgetown. Rabel slips a pass in. Now nifty behind the back move by Posque, stifled by the goalie Kip Turner. Quick outlet. And here comes Dan Burns out of Maryland. Approaching 16-yard arc. Shot and a save. Good rebound. Juicy rebound for Rubier, who scored his 13th goal in the first quarter. He tries to zip a shot short side. Retrigger. Chesapeake ball. Westervelt. Now they come to the near side to Matt Abbott, who had a goal in the first. Abbott, shot, goal. He bounced it by Gable, and Gable said, it's on me. That's a one he should have had back, Ron.
Yeah, because there's no screen. And so Gable's going to, you know, he's pointing at himself saying that is my fault. And he does need to make that save because Matt Abbott is more or less a transition midfielder. You don't see him getting stuck too much on the offensive end right here. And as he makes that alley dodge, there isn't anybody there to stop the view. That's one that Gable certainly would love to have back. You don't like getting beat 5-hole, especially by a midfielder who's normally a transition guy.
So the Bayhawks tie it up just underway, second quarter. Adam Rand will head off after winning the faceoff, and here comes Chesapeake. And Rubier finds an open Kyle Dixon. Top man beyond the arc. He has 5 two-pointers this year, 50 in his career. Chesapeake Bayhawks franchise leader in two-pointers with 15. Brooks behind the net to Grant. Boy, they are dangerous. They got all-stars all over the field. Dixon the shot wide of Gable. He let that one rip. Grant re-triggers for the Bayhawks. Boston in the home blues. Belisle checks Grant. Can't take it away though. Dixon fakes the two-pointer. Now inside the arc, it's double teamed, and nice defending. Boston comes away with it. Farrell past the midfield line. That was good work, Ron, by Matt Smalley.
Good team defense there. Mitch Belisle taking on John Grant Jr. one-on-one. I like that matchup so far for Boston.
Buchanan, or give and go with Rabel, couldn't connect. Darting towards the crease.
Boston was a little bit too quick on that possession. You still had about 42 seconds left in the shot clock. Guys didn't get a chance to get in the flow and touch it. You kind of get the feeling, though, now that the second quarter has started, that Chesapeake's going to start slowing things down a little bit on their offensive end. Give guys an opportunity to all touch the ball, move things around, and get back into a flow.
Offsides is the call. So it'll be Chesapeake ball, but Ryan Boyle had a quiet first quarter, didn't he?
Ryan Boyle had a quiet first quarter. Their entire attack unit pretty much had a quiet first quarter with the exception of the Posque goal. They're going to have to start kind of just moving that ball around a little bit more. I think that if they can just get guys to touch the ball in space and not do so much one-on-one movement. I know they like to give Paul Rabel the opportunity to do the sweep because he's so great at it, but I think you need to get Chesapeake moving. You want to try and find that off-ball stuff.
Westervelt. Shot way off the line, a Smalley item.
So Chesapeake has a nice matchup here with Smalley covering Westervelt.
What will Belisle do? Here's a behind-the-back shot by Grant. Nice defending by Adams. A little chippy on the far side as he ran into Mike Kimmel. Terrific midfield out of Johns Hopkins. Now Stone finds Farrell. Farrell, the 6-foot-long pole. Rabel. Boyle's got it. Buchanan now for Boston with 46 on the shot clock. Boston off to its worst start in franchise history. Colin Briggs inside the arc. He scored last week. His goal came on the record-breaking point by Ryan Boyle. Has it now, finds Briggs again. Briggs. Shot gets deflected. Loose change, Chesapeake possession.
Briggs will learn as he gets older in this league that once you catch it at the 5x5, you got to shoot it. Can't run with it. These guys are too quick. They'll close the gap too fast.
Burns to Hostetler. Oh, that was way off the mark.
But that's a good shot. It's sometimes hard for goalies to find the long stick. You can't tell exactly where the ball is going to release from. Is it releasing high? Is it releasing low? So sometimes you have an opening, you have an angle. Let it fly, especially as the sun's going down a little bit. The lights are coming on. It's kind of hard light for a goalie right now.
Good bounce pass to Mac Rides by Hunt. Mac Rides. Goes behind the net to Grant. Grant up Belisle. Nice swim move and a goal. Crease dive and a score by John Grant. He looked like one of the top players in lacrosse history on that.
John Grant Jr. just does not get old. I mean, I don't know what he's drinking, but I want some of it because he should not be able to do this at his age. That was an inside roll dodge on Belisle, and Belisle's one of the premier defenders in this league. Played him great, but he used his body to push Belisle off. And once he got a step on him, you're not stopping Junior as he gets tight into the net.
He's 37 years old.
I mean, that's young, but in lacrosse ages, that's ancient. I mean, that's really old. I mean, these guys are all 24, 25.
Oh, I know. It's amazing what Grant can do. Out of Delaware, now Brooks has it as Chesapeake takes the lead, 5-4. Now Kyle Dixon. Good defending by Boston. Brendan Buckley, rookie from Army. Seeing his first action of the season. He was a draft pick. Oh, now it's starting to get real chippy. Spallina, Brian Spallina. Running into a Boston cannon. Boyle has it on the re-trigger.
You know, one of the things that Brian Spallina likes to do is he likes to get you out of your game. So he likes to hit you maybe a little bit late. Likes to get you out of your rhythm. But guys like Ryan Boyle have been around so long, they know his game so well, they're not going to fall into that trap. I was pretty impressed with how Boston kept their composure. But this is that point in the game, John, where Boston has to be a little bit careful because Chesapeake can go on those runs. They can go on those 3, 4, 5 goal runs. So if you can keep it sort of in this area, you're liking that as a win.
Di Maria, the rookie from Lehigh, behind the net. Weird angle shot goes wide. as it was fired by Matt Bosquet from UVA in Clark, New Jersey. Bosquet, one of the top attackmen in the league for years. Boyle, what will he do with it? The quarterback of the Cannons offense. Bounce, Rabel can't handle it. Midfield, and a push from behind. That's going to be Rubier.
They're saying that Rubier pushed Smalley over and back.
How about Boyle with a goal? The feisty Ryan Boyle gets up in the face of the Bayhawks' Michael Evans, but he has the score.
Ryan Boyle, crafty veteran, has been in this league for so long, one of the smartest players in all of Major League Lacrosse, and that's the kind of goal that you need in order to tie the game.
So we head to a break with Ryan Boyle saluted by his teammates, and the Cannons and Bayhawks tied at 5.
Swim move by the big fella. Uh-oh. Greg Gurenlian down on the turf after trying the second swim move.
This is not how I wanted to end my lacrosse career. I always thought I would go out on my terms. Everyone said I should just call it quits. It would be too hard to come back. But I didn't listen to everyone. I powered through.
Gurenlian charging and he scores! The beast!
I didn't just come back. I was a 2012 MLL All-Pro. I'm Greg Gurenlian of the New York Lizards. How do you power through?
Waleed Hodge on the split dodge. Right in, he scores! Waleed Hodge wins it for the Young Guns. Front, there's Lowe! He fires and scores! Kevin Lowe! 4 seconds left. Inside the pass. Quinzani! He scores! Quinzani with a buzzer beater!
We are back at Harvard as Ryan Boyle now with 401 career points after a terrific goal right before the break.
Ryan Boyle just so patient. Instead of letting the ball go right here, he takes 2 extra steps. And that's so hard for young attackmen to do. You know, as you're a young guy, you got to make sure that you take another extra step around that crease, give yourself a better angle.
And Ryan Boyle may be at the MLL All-Star Game. Lacrosse fans, here's your chance to see all the best players in the world in one place. The 2013 All-Star Game, presented by Moe's Southwest Grill, is July 13th in Charlotte. The top 40 players in Major League Lacrosse will face off in the game. Do not miss the skills competition at halftime, featuring the fastest shot and freestyle competitions. For ticket and information, visit MajorLeagueLacrosse.com. I'm sure there'll be a few Bayhawks and a few Cannons at that game. And as we look at our standings, Denver, Chesapeake, and Hamilton off to phenomenal starts, with Boston and Ohio picking up the rear.
Nothing surprises you on that list except for where Boston is. You'd think Boston would be sort of in that upper echelon, that upper tier. You got to like what Denver Outlaws are doing. They keep reinventing themselves year in and year out.
How about another face-off win for Chris Eck? Bounce pass to Paul Rabel, who scored in the first quarter. Rabel has 9 goals, 12 points. Top 3 in MLL. Goes behind the net to Buchanan, who also has a goal. Buchanan tries to get around the opposing figure of Brian Spallina. Loose change, Buchanan's got it. Looks out, top of the arc, Stone. Lost it. Bosquet fighting for it, Chesapeake ball. For a moment, they lose it. Buchanan gets it back.
Chesapeake is not sliding. They're playing guys man-to-man. And as Boston gets a new fresh shot clock, they're looking for the matchup. Trying to find the short stick, see if they can exploit it with Sussman.
Here comes Sussman, who's been pretty quiet, gets double teamed. Finds Stone. Mike Stone to Paul Rabel outside the 16-yard arc. Buchanan inside, and a goal! Great ball movement around the perimeter and finally inside, and the Cannons capitalize as Ryan Boyle has the second straight Boston score.
Ryan Boyle is the quarterback of this team. Absolutely, I'm telling you right now, he loves the way the team moved the ball here. Just one extra pass right here. As Rabel comes on the sweep, Buchanan's got a shot there, but he finds one more pass, and Boyle gets the goal. That's exactly the kind of lacrosse that Boston's been looking to play. Team-oriented lacrosse. Everybody get a touch, shoot in rhythm.
So Boyle with his third goal, and the one-goal advantage for the Cannons. They fight for the face-off. Eck tries to win. Farrell taking a man out. Eck hits the turf. And we got a re-trigger for Boston.
And another
Sweeney at midfield.
And another face-off win for Boston.
Sweeney, 6-foot pole to Farrell. Fellow defender. Rabel inside. Rabel couldn't find the range, but that was a good attempt by Paul Rabel. Swimming inside.
I love the dive move. I wish they'd bring that back into college lacrosse. It adds such a dynamic, fun element to the game. And when you have guys that are so big and strong and athletic like Paul Rabel, just giving up their body, I just think it makes the product so much better and so much more fun to watch.
To a man, every player that comes to the league says it's totally different speed played at MLL from the collegiate ranks.
Yeah, because it's so coached in college. You know, the coaches are with their players every single day, 5, 6, 7 days a week, and the coaches run the game. But in Major League Lacrosse, the players run the game. They dictate tempo.
Yep. Grant behind the net. Look out, he's dangerous. Attacked by John Hayes. Grant continues to get pushed by Hayes. Feisty defending by Hayes, who also has a goal. Shot wide. Grant gets it back. Shot goal. How about John Grant? Tenacious inside the arc. And he finds the range again.
John Grant fakes you out with his stick fakes. He is just so quick. I mean, his reflexes are just unbelievable. There was a shot on the far side that he caught out of midair, and then he has obviously the matchup favoring him this way, but he uses the defenseman as a shield, as a screen to get it by.
It's probably another one that Gable would like to have back.
That's a tougher shot for Gable to save because there is a screen, because the defenseman's in front of him, and so he can't really see exactly what Grant is doing. And Grant is so shifty, you don't know if he's shooting high to low, low to high, low to low, low to high. I mean, the guy is just, he has tremendous amount of junk in his trunk. I mean, the guy can just score from everywhere.
Here's Rabel. Now a shot wide. Good idea, though, by the Cannons, as Rabel found an open Kyle Sweeney.
They'll keep him on O.
Yeah, Sweeney could be a threat. We saw that last week against Denver with a score. Good one in Boston. 6-6 with under 4 to play in the first half. A reminder, Ryan Boyle will join us at halftime, the all-time leading scorer in Major League Lacrosse. It's had a terrific second quarter. Now Ari Sussman towards the crease. Sussman with a flag flying. Palom is the head official tonight. Sussman trying to maneuver through traffic. Bounces one, and Stone scoops it up. Mike Stone. Will he attempt a two-pointer? No, inside the arc. And a good tracking save by Kip Turner.
Boston will go on the power play for the first time tonight.
Cannons were 0 for 4 on the power play last week. Can they capitalize now? 6-6 in Boston.
ShopMLL.com is your destination for officially licensed Major League Lacrosse apparel. Get all your MLL team hats, t-shirts, shorts, hoodies, and more at ShopMLL.com. Keeping up with Major League Lacrosse has never been easier. Get all the latest news, highlights, and scores right to your smartphone with the MLL app for iPhone and Android. Download yours today.
Waleed Hodge on the split dodge, right in, he scores! Waleed Hodge wins it for the Young Guns!
Buchanan 6, Bayhawks 6 as Boston tries to go to 1-3 with a victory in a terrific first half at Harvard Stadium. Hey fans, for the most in-depth look into Major League Lacrosse and the best players in the world, you're going to watch Inside the MLL, presented on CBS Sports Network every Thursday all season long. I know you're a contributor to that show. Evan Washburn does a terrific job as the host. And the penalty is on the Bayhawks, Brian Spallina. What'd you see Ron's wearing?
That. that.
And that.
That. I mean, we could let's just start counting them up. You know, Brian Spallina is just so aggressive, and it gets him in trouble sometimes.
So the Cannons with a man advantage. Paul Rabel. Go behind the net. Di Maria finds Stone. Boyle. Di Maria. Back to Boyle. Top of the arc. Rabel. Shot. Buchanan's got a goal. Kevin Buchanan is second of the night. He went low on Kip Turner, and that was the right place. Boston capitalizing on the man up.
Boston struggled on the man up last week, and they're off to a good start this week. This is exactly what Boston needed. They want to move the ball. So just don't look at Boston. Just watch the players in white. Watch how they have to chase. They go from side to side. And when you can get guys in this league to chase and give your man an opportunity to shoot in space, you just increase your odds to score goals, especially on the man up.
Big face-off win again for Chris Eck, who has been dominant. A key performer in the first half. Certainly dominant.
He has Rand figured out so far. I mean, I think at halftime, they might have to switch some things up. They might have to think through what they're going to do, because you can't keep giving Boston extra possessions.
Cannons with 35 on the 60-second shot clock. Harry Sussman far side. Now Mike Stone towards midfield. He's eyed by Jeff Reynolds. Defender from Maryland. Stone to Boyle. Boyle with 2 scores. Gets checked through traffic. Rabel 2-point attempt. Tracked by Turner.
Great save by Kip Turner. That ball was coming with some heat, and it had a screen on it too.
Good defending by Buchanan to scoop up the loose change. 2 to play.
You know, we make a lot about Boston starting off 0-3. But in this league, you are going to have dry spells. And quite frankly, if I'm going to have a dry spell, I want it in the early part of the season.
Why not, right?
Yeah, I mean, just get it over with.
Yeah.
And, get some of your other young guys in, get some of these college players in, give them a chance to start growing.
Buchanan, Posque wide. Rabel wins. Stone, goal! I'll tell you what, Boston's feeling it. Paul Rabel to Mike Stone, and he knew what to do with it, didn't he, Ron?
Yeah, I mean, Boston's starting to play this team concept. They've kind of fallen out of that in the first 3 games of the season. Guys trying to do too much. But in this case, guys are fighting for the ball. And Paul Rabel, he did right. Oh, he threw that behind his back, no look. He went Magic Johnson on that. That is the kind of thing that, you know where guys are supposed to be. And when you're flipping it behind your back to guys who are wide open, that's impressive.
Rabel again. Couldn't connect, though. That was very impressive. Went Chris Ball, he went Russell Westbrook, you went Rajon Rondo.
Okay.
Pick your favorite point guard.
You want the new guys. I was going old school.
That's all right. Go Fat Lever if you want.
That's right. Let's go Fat Lever. I love that.
Denver guys. Throwing Alex English to you, too. So a 2-goal lead for Boston. Can they go into the locker room with their first half lead? Looking good right now with 38 seconds to play. But right on cue, I just jinxed it. Goal scored by Chesapeake. That's the last time I talk about a halftime lead. Stephen Brooks with the score. And Mike Gable was surprised by the shot.
Stephen Brooks has just been having sort of a quiet start to this 2013 campaign, but he's just so dangerous. Here he is on the left side, alley dodge. He hides his stick so well, and so you young players, watch what he does. He just goes down the alley. That stick is hidden so well, you don't know where the ball's going to be released from. He just went high to low on that one, snuck it right by Gable. Chesapeake's interesting, you know. They're quiet. Boston has all the momentum, and then all of a sudden, Chesapeake just stings you.
That's what the firepower will do to you. Stephen Brooks has his 3rd of the year. Rabel now. Under 20 to play in the half. Buchanan carries behind the cage. Shot clock off. It's Brent Adams inside the arc. He fires. Wide of Kip Turner.
They ran that clock down about 4 seconds too much. There should be about 10 seconds left on that shot clock, on the game clock rather.
Trying to sort it out. It's Buchanan. Will inbound for Boston.
They are not adding more time to that. They should be adding about 3.5 seconds.
Steve Duffy doesn't look happy. Buchanan behind the net. Buchanan. Oh, he got absolutely hogtied. And the shot wide by Farrell, but it's going to be a penalty on Brian Spallina, who mauled Buchanan.
And so Boston will start the 3rd quarter a man up.
Could be charged with assault for that.
Oh, I mean, he's just, I mean, look at, as he's making the sweep around here, just gets high with the stick and says, well, I've got you. I might as well just take you down. I mean, those are one of those penalties that sometimes they can go either way. You might say, that guy should get chucked out of the game for something like that because guys should get really hurt.
Yeah, that was close. And Kevin Buchanan had a terrific first half for Boston. One of many who played well for the Cannons. We're going to head downstairs and join second-year coach Steve Duffy with Ron Zwerin. I'm John Meade-Perrell, coach, and you had to be pleased with what occurred here in the first half. What were the keys to your success?
Well, you know, no doubt winning faceoffs has been a key, and having possession of the ball. It's always important if you're able to do that. And you know, offensively, we're able to get our touches and get it around and get everybody involved, and that's been important for us.
Coach, I really like the way you guys have had some flow in the first half. Have you guys been sort of making a conscious effort to make sure the guys are getting the ball in rhythm?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you see the game a lot, Ron. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's all about getting in a flow, and you know, these guys, they're athletic. They want to get in a flow. They want to get in a little bit of a rhythm, and I think we have the first half.
What do you have to do to keep it going in the second half, Steve?
Stop them from scoring.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Steve Duffy of the Boston Cannons. Our halftime show is next. Boston 8, Chesapeake 7.
Once again, looking for an opening
Welcome back to halftime. It's the Cannons and the Bayhawks from Harvard Stadium in Boston. Hi once again, everybody. I'm John Perel. Great to be joined. Welcome back to halftime. It's the Cannons and the Bayhawks from Harvard Stadium in Boston. Hi once again, everybody. I'm John Perel. Great to be joined by the Major League Lacrosse all-time leading scorer, Ryan Boyle. Ryan, a bittersweet moment for you last week. You get the 2 assists to put you over Casey Powell with 400 career points, but you end up losing the game to fall to 0-3. How did it feel?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's bittersweet. We're 0-3, and that's really my concern. I'm obviously incredibly honored to be even in the same breath as Casey, somebody I know very well, close friend of mine. But you know, we need to get back on track and get a W. That's the most important thing to me.
Now, when you look at the rest of the schedule, you get the big game tonight against Chesapeake. I know you don't like to look too far ahead, but what do you guys have to do to get back on track?
Play consistently. I thought we actually played pretty well against Denver for about a 2-quarter stretch, and had them on their heels, and then just weren't able to complete that comeback. Probably, used a lot of energy even to make up the gap. So we just need to come out and play a complete game, and that's really what it comes down to this league. There's just so many possessions. You just got to stay consistent.
It's time now for our Warrior.com 5 questions with Ryan Boyle. Ryan, right off the top, what's your favorite pregame meal and why?
I don't have any sort of ritual in that regard. I have a cup of coffee to get the blood flow a little bit and wake me up from my nap time. And then from there, it's usually some sort of, it's just all about getting hydrated. But the cup of coffee is probably the most, it's no meal. That's what, gets me back and awake.
How about your favorite movie of all time? What is it?
I don't know if I can narrow that. Probably Pulp Fiction would probably be my favorite. If I had to pick one, yeah.
You taking Samuel L. Jackson or Travolta out of there?
That's a good question. Samuel L. is, well, he's in all in Tarantino, most of Tarantino movies, which I'm a pretty big fan of. Jules is a fantastic character in that film. Good reference there, but it's hard to say. I mean, without the one, they need the yin and the yang in order to be successful. I think that they play off each other pretty well.
All right, you got 3 dinner guests to invite to a big affair. Who are you inviting and why?
3 dinner guests. Well, Drew Westervelt, because we've had this idea about the independent collective vacation, so I'd be hard pressed not to leave him out. I think Prezzo. I'd like to pick his brain on a few things. He'd be a pretty good one. Is this like before my death or just in general?
It could be your last meal.
Well, that's a whole separate issue, but. I think, if I've only got one meal left, my parents, I'd like to hang out with them for a little bit longer.
Good decision.
Yeah.
What is your favorite guilty pleasure?
My favorite guilty pleasure? Probably television. It's probably a few shows that I probably shouldn't watch that I do.
You look like a Kardashians guy.
No, nothing. That's pretty low, actually. I think that's that's probably the lowest form of entertainment that's out there, I think.
I would agree. Hey, best of luck the rest of the way. Ryan Boyle, the all-time leading scorer in MLL history. We'll be back with stats and highlights after this.
In front, there's Lowe! He fires and scores! Kevin Lowe! 4 seconds left. Inside the pass. Quizzani! He scores! Quizzani with a buzzer beater! On the split dodge, right in, he scores! Waleed Hodge wins it for the Young Guns!
I'm Evan Washburn, host of Inside the MLL, your home for everything Major League Lacrosse. Each week for 30 minutes, we're taking you through the league, recapping what's happened while also looking forward. Along with in-depth features this season, more than any other year, we're bringing you the voices and faces of the game to break down the biggest storylines and also the weekend's biggest games. We really look forward to catching you all season long on CBS Sports Network. ShopMLL.com is your destination for officially licensed Major League Lacrosse apparel. Get all your MLL team hats, t-shirts, shorts, hoodies, and more at ShopMLL.com. Keeping up with Major League Lacrosse has never been easier. Get all the latest news, highlights, and scores right to your smartphone with the MLL app for iPhone and Android. Download yours today.
Oh! Spectacular goal! Albert looking to be the hero. In front, there's Lowe! He fires and scores! Kevin Lowe! 4 seconds left. Boyle outside the arc. Inside the pass. Quizzani! He scores! Max Quizzani with a buzzer beater!
We are back at Harvard Stadium in Boston. A crowd north of 10,000 watching their Cannons with an offensive showcase. And the most goals allowed in the first half this year for the undefeated 3-0 Bayhawks. With Ron Zwerin, I'm John Mita Perrell. Great to have you with us. We take a look at our first half highlights, and Kevin Buchanan was a big part of it for Boston.
You got things started for Boston. Kevin Buchanan just on the drive, left-handed sweep right by Brian Spallina. And then getting the pass from Rabel, left hand low. But that wasn't it for Boston. I mean, you had Ryan Boyle coming around and sweeping and slinging and getting a goal. And then, of course, as Rabel goes to Buchanan, he shares it to Boyle, and one more step to glory and gets the goal. And that's how Boston gets their 8. As far as Chesapeake is concerned, you know, they had some stuff going early. You had the goal there from Abbott on the spin and turn. That was on a quick reset. And then Abbott, with the alley dodge, just gets one right past Gable. Gable really wanted that one back. That one beat him 5-hole. And then Junior doing what Junior does, faking, driving, and scoring.
What really stands out on the first half stats is faceoffs. Chris Eck was tremendous, 14 out of 17.
I mean, he just dominated. I mean, when you only lose 3 faceoffs, I mean, that's really the tail of the tape right now. As far as Boston is concerned, they might want to get 1 or 2 more goals out of that for all of that work. And so now as Chesapeake comes out in the third quarter, we'll see if they make an adjustment, because adjustments are going to have to be made, especially at faceoff X.
We will talk to Bayhawks veteran coach Dave Cottle as we get set for the second half. Can the Cannons hold on and win their first game? Find out next.
Lacrosse is the proud partner of the Boston Cannons. Lacrosse is the only product on the market that instantly applies to your lacrosse pocket to give you better ball control and help waterproof your pocket. Used by Boston Cannons and lacrosse players everywhere, Lacrosse is a necessary tool to help improve your game. Check us out at lacrossewax.com.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Great, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. John DeParell, Ron Zwerin with you.
Thank you.
We will be about 30 seconds to you. This I don't need. Bob, my live read just blew away, so. How many do we have in the second half? Yeah, I might need him. Getting set to start the third quarter in Boston. Cannons with a 1-goal advantage. We head downstairs and join Bayhawks coach Dave Cottle. Coach, one of the sore spots probably for you in the first half was the X spot as Boston won 14 out of 17. Is there going to be a change in the second half there?
No, Adam Ram's got to do a better job, and we got to help him a little bit on the wings. We haven't gotten any wing ground balls either. So they've dominated faceoffs, which in turn has allowed them to dominate possession, which in turn they have some really good players, and those good players are making great plays.
Coach, one of the things you guys have done so well the last 3 weeks is getting flow early. What do you guys have to do in the third and fourth quarter just to get that rhythm back that you guys are so known for?
We have to get the ball off the ground in the defensive end and clear it. And they've made some good rides. We've thrown the ball away. And, you know, if you don't win faceoffs, you got to find other ways to manufacture possession. It's got to start with the ground balls on the defensive end of the field.
All right, Coach, good luck in the second half. Thank you.
Thank you.
Boston overall, by far their best first half of the season. Prisek in the home blues for the Cannons, fighting for position with Adam Rand in the away white for the Bayhawks. And a win for Eck, 15 out of 18. Not too shabby, Ron Zwerin.
Nope. I mean, you know, Rand's going to have to figure some stuff out. He's going to have to scoop the ball out to his wingman maybe a little bit faster or try to get his wingman in. They're going to have to do something, but as Coach Cottle said, they have to manufacture other ways to get possessions, the other ways to get the ball. Right now, Boston's moving it well.
Di Maria, Buchanan behind the net.
Remember, they were on the man up to start this third quarter off of that Spallina foul, but now they're back to even strength.
Spallina mauling of Kevin Buchanan to end the first half. Now Ryan Boyle had a great second quarter with 2 goals. That'll be a reset for the Bayhawks. Boyle couldn't hack it away. Here comes Matt Abbott across the midfield line. Finds a streaking Reynolds inside the arc. Nice swim move, gets double teamed, loose change, and a flag. Few of them. Rubier tries to serve it in. And the chippiness continues as Steve Duffy looks on the far side.
And the reason why Chesapeake is so upset about that was because they think that Jeff Reynolds was just absolutely mauled late after he gave up that ball. It was such a bang-bang play.
Reynolds down. Defensive midfielder out of Maryland, 6 feet, 195, and slams his helmet to the turf.
You know, as Reynolds had a head of steam and he was coming down through the slot area, nobody picked him up. And then right at the last minute, he saw Westervelt camped out on the doorstep and tried to give it up, and he paid the price. And Chesapeake thinks that he paid the price a little bit late, and they're checking him now for all the things that you have to check him for. Got to make sure that he doesn't have a concussion. You know, you got to figure some things out here right now. He looks to be okay, but looks in this case can certainly be deceiving, especially as it comes to concussions.
It's 1 2-minute penalty on Nizelek, 1 for 1 minute on Nizelek.
And so that's going to be an unreleasable. And so this is one of those areas in the game, John, that become turning point moments for teams, because for in Boston's case right now, they're going to be a man down for 2 minutes at minimum, most likely 3.
Yep.
And so as they're down for this 2 minutes right now, they're going to be chasing, because Chesapeake's going to want to get that ball moving. Chesapeake, on the other hand, they're looking at this as an opportunity to not just tie the game, but maybe get 1 or 2 goals ahead, really change momentum.
So Reynolds shrugs his shoulders, says, I'm okay, but he will leave the field. Ryan Nizelek from New Haven, Connecticut. 6'2", 217, UVA grad, 2009. Man up, Chesapeake, trying to knot the score.
So it's interesting that they don't have Junior out here on this man up. They have him sitting down, and they put Westervelt quarterbacking it from behind. That's normally Junior's spot.
Yeah, John Grant did a good job there in the first half. Hit 2 goals. Now outside the arc, they move it around the perimeter. Mack rides. Top of the arc, it's Stephen Brooks. Got a goal in the second quarter. Brooks fakes the 2-pointer. Remember, outside the 16-yard arc, you get 2 points. Here's an attempt. Tracking save by Mike Gable.
Nice defense by Boston. They didn't chase. They just stayed in their zone and popped out accordingly, right on time. They weren't late on any of their slides.
Kyle Dixon ripped the 2-pointer. Leads MLL with 5 2-pointers this year, 15 in his Chesapeake Bayhawk career. Top mark franchise history. Mike Stone with it.
So Boston now, as they're a man down, they want to do a couple of things. 1, keep it away. Run as much of that shot clock off. You don't want to give up early shots. And 2, if you get an opportunity, you take it. You go right for it. You don't want to play too conservatively.
First minute up on the penalty. Couple minutes remaining. So Buchanan plays keep away with Spallina.
And I'm surprised that Boston, or rather that Chesapeake, doesn't come out maybe double team, because they do have the extra man advantage. But what they're choosing to do is just shut off Rabel.
Yeah, Rabel continues to get mauled as Hostetler's playing him tightly. Now we have a reset for the Bayhawks. Hunt gets the outlet pass.
I was surprised by that Chesapeake wasn't more aggressive defensively. They let them run that shot clock all the way down to about 4.
Dixon, service. Quick reset. Dixon again. Shot. Nice save, Gable. Rip job by Stephen Brooks.
And Boston will take that all day long. If Dixon and Brooks want to shoot from that far out without screens, that's a matchup that favors Boston. I'm surprised that Chesapeake isn't trying to move it, get something down low. Now that Junior's back in, we'll see if they can set something up, maybe get something action to the crease.
40 seconds remaining on the penalty to Nizelek. On top of the arc for Dixon. Eyed by Stone.
And another flag was just thrown. Might have been for unsportsmanlike.
Dixon for John Grant Jr. Hunt. Nice move, but poke checked away by Sweeney. We got an offsides call.
Offsides. So now they're going to be 2 men down for about 10 more seconds.
10 seconds left on the first penalty.
This just tires the defense out. You don't want to be in this situation, especially early in the third quarter in a really tight game. Got to be careful because you know the Chesapeake can shoot from that 2-point arc. But you can't slide out too far and get stuck in the wash and have someone score in tight.
Timeout. Boston was huddling in the defensive
Looks like they were
end.
calling a timeout, but they weren't.
Chesapeake works it around the perimeter. Rubier behind the cage for Grant. Now Dixon steps into one. First man released. And a quirky angle score. How about John Grant? From any angle he can score. And he beat Mike Gable. John Grant has been a thorn in the Cannon side.
Just an unfortunate turn of events for Boston. Right when the play was released, the penalty was released. Great back check from behind. You'll see it right here. Perfect back check, but it bounces right into the stick of Junior. And he just buries it.
Second game for Chesapeake as John Grant played indoors for the Mammoth of Colorado. They tie it up at 8. 10 minutes left in the third. Spare change. Smalley wins for Boston. Matt Smalley. Underhand pass. Farrell's got it. 6-foot pull. Farrell inside the arc finds Ryan Boyle. Boyle with 2 goals. He has 3 this year. Farrell leaves the field as he's replaced by Posque. Paul Rabel's got it. Rabel rips it, save by Turner. Quick outlet. Here comes Matt Abbott. Gains the midfield line. Abbott, nice swim move on Stone. Burns for Chesapeake. Abbott gets it back, and he scores! Oh, that was flawless ball movement by Chesapeake, and Gable's frustrated because his defense broke down in front of him, and Abbott had easy pitches.
And now Chesapeake seems to all of a sudden be in a flow. Look how everybody just gets a touch and everyone gets an opportunity to take a shot in space. As Abbott moves it over to the far side, it comes right back to him, and the slide is just a little bit too late. And when that slide's coming late, Abbott just has too much time, too much space, and too much room to get that shot off. And all of a sudden now, 2-goal run for Chesapeake, and they take the lead.
Third goal for Matt Abbott, the hat trick. And the 1-goal advantage for the Bayhawks. And some feisty work in the X spot between Eck and Rand. Eck pushing to win. Rand wins this one. Adam Rand, third all-time in NCAA face-off wins out of Stony Brook.
And that's a big win. I mean, that's a really big win.
Huge. Momentum in favor of the Bayhawks. They eliminated Boston last year in the semifinals of the playoffs. 15-10 victory. They went on to win their 4th MLL championship. Most decorated team in the league. 4 MLL titles. They have built a dynasty. Behind the net, Mike Kimmel. Good work by Buckley, the rookie. Another flag flying.
They're calling that a push from behind with possession, and I'm not so sure that I agree with it. That was a little soft.
In any case, the Cannons have some work to do, trailing the Bayhawks by a goal with 8 minutes to play in the third.
The game knows me, inside and out. It's taught me that victory is forged not just by the power of your shot,
has its first loss of the season,
but the strength of your conviction. It taught me I could turn the impossible into the instinctual. My story is Lacrosse's story, and the next chapter starts now.
Scores! A 2-point bomb for Rabel.
Defense isn't just body blows and big hits. It's strategic. It's cerebral. It's knowing speed is just as important as strength. It's about the defense going on the offensive. It's understanding that the team that controls the ball controls the game. It's brains and brawn. Introducing the new Cyberhead, the new generation of defensive heads.
We are back in Boston with the Cannons trailing the Bayhawks by a goal. The 2013 Major League Championship Weekend, presented by SmartLink, will be held in Philadelphia, August 24th and 25th. You can see the top 4 teams in the league battle in 3 games over 2 days to decide the MLL champion. For tickets and information, visit MajorLeagueLacrosse.com. Most goals the Bayhawks have allowed this year, Ron, season high for Kip Turner, the goalie of Chesapeake, and a credit to Boston's offense, but Chesapeake with the upper hand now. What does Boston have to do to get it back?
Well, first of all, they cannot let Chesapeake score on this man up. It's only a 30-second man up, but Chesapeake can do damage in 30 seconds. Want to keep things even. Chesapeake's on a 3-goal run right now, the most they've scored in a row all night long.
Chesapeake moving it well again with Stephen Brooks. Now to John Grant, who's had a terrific night. Top of the arc, Dixon. Couldn't connect with Ben Hunt. 35 on the shot clock. Hunt rips one. Good save by Gable. Man is released for Boston.
That's an important save by Gable. And now, Boston's right where they want to be. I mean, you're only down by a goal. I mean, this game is anybody's game right now. Boston just needs to keep doing what they've been doing in the first half.
Farrell with the errant shot.
And I'm surprised they're not calling that. I mean, they called it on the other end, a push with possession, but in that case, they don't call it. So sort of a little bit uneven calling those penalties on both sides of the field.
Farrell, the University of Maryland assistant coach, has been a nice stabilizing force on the back line for the Cannons and also working into the offensive flow. Here comes the Cannons carrying nicely. It's Mike Stone. Rabel has a score, and he's got another one. Paul Rabel, instant offense. The Cannons have tied it up.
Chesapeake made a mistake. They got caught in the wash because as Stone is driving in the alley, all of a sudden the slide comes too early. Polanco moved up, gave Rabel way too much time and space. Polanco's got to know who he's covering. I mean, he's been in this league way too long to let that happen. You can't let Paul Rabel all of a sudden get 5 and 6 feet away from you because he's going to score. He's just that dangerous.
Paul Rabel's now in double figures in goals this year with his 10th. And his celebratory Cannons team smelling it again. Loose change scooped up by the Bayhawks. Matt Abbott, far side. Works on Matt Smalley, the 5'10 midfielder from Hobart College, a statesman. Waiting for the Ithaca kid for Chesapeake to get in the game. Matt Casey. It's on their bench. Here's a shot wide of Mike Gable, proud Ithaca College grad. Looking for that bomber on the field. I don't see many Colorado guys out here. You know the director of broadcasting for MLL, Chris Day, is an Ithaca grad.
So there's 2 of you. All right.
We're everywhere. Shot by Grant. Goes behind the net. Scooped up by Stephen Brooks. Brooks, the shot wide of Mike Gable.
And on the shot, Boston was heads up. They beat Grant Jr. to the end line and got another possession back. You know, Coach Cottle was talking about manufacturing possessions. Then if you lose the faceoff, you got to find another way to get the ball back. In that case, Boston did, but then they just turned it right back over again.
Oh, here's a Wild shot by Rubier. It's been pretty quiet. Boston's done a good job bottling up the leading scorer of the league, Ben Rubier. He did have a goal in the first time.
They've been doing a good job just bottling everybody up. I like the way they're playing defense. You know, they're playing with a little more intensity, a little more sense of urgency. I mean, of course, when you're 0-3, you got to have some urgency, but I just like the way they're playing consistently with urgency. So far this game, they haven't let up. They haven't had just these mental lapses.
Westervelt had a first quarter score. Carries behind the net. Eyed by John Hayes. Good defending. Nice feed. Rubier, a kick save, and a beauty by Gable. Deft footwork by the goalie. More loose change, and Gable's got it. Nice outlet. A good catch by Hayes. Pass midfield. Finds a streaking Brent Adams, the former Bayhawk. Can't be denied with a flag. Might have a slash on Chesapeake. Boston controlling behind the net. 6-foot pole. Goal! Great work. And a score by Kyle Sweeney. Scored last week, and he connects tonight. Boston leads by a goal.
Boston does not give up after the penalty is called. The flag goes in the air, and once the flag goes in the air, Boston keeps playing. Chesapeake slowed things down a little bit.
Tenacity by the Cannons as they lead 10-9 after Kyle Sweeney score. A good one from Boston.
ShopMLL.com is your destination for officially licensed Major League Lacrosse apparel. Get all your MLL team hats, t-shirts, shorts, hoodies, and more at ShopMLL.com. Keeping up with Major League Lacrosse has never been easier. Get all the latest news, highlights, and scores right to your smartphone with the MLL app for iPhone and Android. Download yours today.
Steve Duffy's Cannons just had the goal erased. Kyle Sweeney had scored right before the break, but it was taken off the board. Good save here by Mike Gable, Ron Zwerin. Kick save and a beauty.
Point blank save. And right here, you know, Kyle Sweeney scores the goal, but they wave it off because they had too many men on the field. Nonetheless, they're going to be man up.
Tough break for Boston, but this game has been one of the best in MLL all year and highly competitive. And if you're a fan here tonight, you certainly can't complain.
You certainly got your money's worth. We have a nice crowd here tonight. People are getting treated to some high-quality lacrosse.
Rabel moves it around. Boston a man up. Scoreless last week on the man advantage. Now Stone finds Rabel, so dangerous, and a goal. That's a two-pointer for Paul Rabel. He shoots at 111 miles per hour, world record holder, and Paul Rabel is tremendous.
Man, he's just so dangerous from so many different places in the field. And, you know, Chesapeake played this pretty well. I mean, Polanco got out, got in front of Rabel, but Rabel just finds the 6x6. He just steps into it, just turns his hips so hard. If you're a young player and you're just starting to learn how to play lacrosse, watch the way Paul Rabel shoots. He opens his hips wide, and then when he shoots, he just snaps them closed as fast, as hard as he can, and that's what generates the power.
ESPN, the magazine, did a breakdown on that a couple weeks ago. One of their feature segments, and that's exactly what that's exactly what he said about it. It's all about power from the hips, but his second two-pointer of the season gives Boston a 2-goal lead. 3:10 to play. Now the loose change by Rabel to Smalley. Inside. Sweeney's got one. Kyle Sweeney having a race, but he says, you know what? I'm coming back, and I got more for you. 3-goal lead for Boston.
I really like the way Boston is sharing the rock, letting everybody touch it. And in transition is where you can hurt teams. And just look what Ryan Boyle does. He trusts his defenseman. Usually you don't want to give a defenseman a feed, especially in tight. But Kyle Sweeney is such a good stick handler, such a good ball handler that you trust him. And Ryan Boyle, one of the best quarterbacks in all of Major League Lacrosse, maybe even of all time. One of the best quarterbacks in the game. Finds an open man, and all of a sudden, Boston now has a 3-goal edge.
Sweeney. 6'2", 195 from Georgetown, 2003 grad. He had 3 goals last year. That's his second this season. So how does Chesapeake respond as we head towards the fourth quarter? Now they control the offensive end, and another flag.
And that's one of those things where all of a sudden Chesapeake is starting to get a little bit frustrated. You know, Kyle Dixon just gets frustrated. He just absolutely smashed his defenseman off ball. That's not only going to be a turnover, but it's going to be a penalty.
1 minute penalty. Boston a man up. Kyle Dixon penalized.
And it's just unnecessary. You don't need to do it.
Illegal body check.
Yeah, you're only down 3.
Yep.
You know, you got to be patient. You got to stay within the flow. Trust what you're doing.
Stone. Far side, not a Rabel. Moments ago with a 2-pointer. DiMaria, the rookie from Lehigh. 2-man game with Stone. Now Boyle gets in the mix. Back to DiMaria. Buchanan's got a couple scores. Oh, they're moving it well. Buchanan lost it. Nice job getting it back to Rabel. Inside, Posque. Hot shot, good save. Turner.
If I told you that Boston was 0-3, you wouldn't believe it.
Nope.
And they are playing like the team that's 3-0, and Chesapeake is playing like they're gripping a little bit. I mean, it's so interesting in this league how things can change just week to week.
Far side. Penalty is over. John Grant Jr. behind the net. Here's 60 seconds to shoot for Chesapeake. 1:15 to play in the quarter.
Belisle's done a nice job on John Grant Jr. tonight. I'm sure he's had a couple of goals, but they've been when Belisle hasn't been covering him.
Hunt finds McRides inside the 16-yard arc. Oh, he gets mauled by Smalley.
And I like that. They let him play on. He wasn't pulling him down. Had good defensive position.
Hunt capitalizes on the Sweeney turnover. Rubier. Now to McRides. Good pass and an equally good save. Westervelt stifled by Gable.
That is the save of the night for Boston. That was just a bang-bang play. That shot by Westervelt was coming at about 90 miles an hour, and he just stoned him.
Talked to Steve Duffy before the game. He thought Mike Gable played great last week in Boston's loss to Denver. McRides rips it home. Chesapeake has increased the offensive intensity in the final minute of the third quarter. Now they trail by 2.
You know, in all sports, you want to close out quarters strong, and that's exactly what Chesapeake does here. I mean, it's just ridiculous what John Grant Jr. can do. I mean, he just feeds that on a dime with one hand and the other hand pretty much tied behind his back. And all of a sudden, Chesapeake is right in it. I mean, this is just one of those games. This might go down as one of the best games of the year. And I think that if you're Boston and you win this game, you look at this game as the game that you all of a sudden sort of turn the corner, start figuring things out. If you're Chesapeake, you look at this game, you say, you know what, we went on the road against a team that was desperate, and we actually found a way to win. We found a way to come from behind going into a fourth quarter.
And another face-off win for Adam Rand. Few and far between, but won that one. John Grant takes so much attention away behind the net. And that's what Dave Cottle said last week after their victory. There's another goal. That's a two-pointer, and they have tied it up. Steven Brooks fired, and Mike Gable was flummoxed by the shot.
I mean, that was just a bullet from outside, and that's just not something. I don't think Gable was expecting that shot from that direction. I mean, there are 3 guys screening him. I don't think that Gable even was expecting the shot, because it looked like they were setting things up, and Brooks just took advantage as Gable was caught a little bit flat-footed.
3 straight for Chesapeake to tie it up with 5 seconds left in the third.
It just goes to show you how fast things can change. And you thought that you were going to be going into the fourth quarter with a 2-goal lead, and now all of a sudden you're tied.
Big quarter for Paul Rabel, the dynamic offensive force for the Boston Cannons. But will they have enough on the defensive end as they continue to stifle the Bayhawks? Should be a good final 15 coming up from Harvard Stadium after this.
Okay.
Former Boston Cannons goalie Kip Turner surveying the scene for his Bayhawks, who had a terrific final 30 seconds and certainly stunning the Cannons run.
They just stepped on the gas. They were down by 3 goals, and then all of a sudden Junior finds an open man, and then Brooks with the outside upper corner stinger, and now we're tied. It's anybody's game. And you know, it's so interesting. You talk about rhythm and flow and finding matchups. At the end of the day, sometimes it just comes down to who wants it more. And this is going to be a gut check time for both of these teams. Chesapeake hasn't allowed a goal this entire season in the fourth quarter. It's amazing.
Chesapeake outscoring Boston 5-4 in the third quarter. And another face-off one for Chris Eck. He's 18 of 25 as the X-Men.
That's a career for some people. It's unbelievable.
40 face-off wins this year in their 3+ games. Boston trying to go to 1-3. Chesapeake on top of the 8-team MLL at 3-0. Ari Sussman's been quiet. He had 4 goals a couple weeks ago. Is a shot just wide of Turner. Put on by Mike Stone. Reset for Buchanan behind the net. Spallina's on him. Buchanan swimming by. Now it's Stone. Over the head. Past the end line. Sussman's got it. Sussman, look out. Couldn't get a shot off. Here's a shot. Wide angle by Rabel.
I'm surprised they don't reset the shot clock on that. That was right on cage.
5 seconds remaining on the 60-second shot clock. Boyle's got it.
Boyle's smart. He'll just drop it in the corner.
Yep. Good call, Ron. Ryan Boyle, 2 goals first half. Now with 402 career MLL points. And here come the Bayhawks. Dan Burns, steadying influence at midfield. Past the line, it's Mike Kimmel.
It's the little things that John Grant Jr. does that just sets his team up for greatness. On that pass, he just ran his man all the way up to the high side. Just created some more space. Gave them a chance to set things up properly.
Ben Rubier. Grant. Belisle on him. Grant won't be denied. Oh, getting by Belisle. Look out. Nice save by Gable, but Grant, a one-man show.
That was just fun to watch. I mean, that was great offense, great defense. I mean, that's a fist bump time right there.
Kids, Grant's a coaching clinic.
I mean, that was just great. It was great defense, great body, fabulous inside roll, and a great save.
Tireless John Grant. Steve Duffy thought he's arguably the greatest lacrosse player of all time. One of the other greats, Gary Gate, was a member of the Chesapeake Bayhawks. One of their all-time leading scorers out of Syracuse, and the famous Gate brothers. You like Syracuse' chances to win the NCAA title?
Got to go with Denver.
Of course you do. Brent Adams towards the crease.
Some home cooking.
I don't blame you.
No, I like Denver. Of course, Syracuse gets a chance to move on. Denver's got to play tomorrow and prove what they can do.
Good save by Turner, stopping Kevin Buchanan. Syracuse hasn't been in the Final Four since 2009. That's a drought for them. Inside the arc. Nice save by Gable, stopping Kyle Dixon, who's been pretty quiet. Dixon, one of the top midfielders in the league. Stone wouldn't be denied as Rubier got a piece of it. Paul Rabel near side. Boston with 44 on the shot clock. Rabel behind the net.
He was looking to dive on that one.
He was. Buchanan. A couple goals to Boyle. Now Colin Briggs. Briggs scored last week. Tried to feed it across the cage.
Boston's running a shorter bench. Briggs hasn't seen a lot of time tonight.
It's good defending by Dan Hostetler. Spare change. And Rabel's down for Boston. Paul Rabel slow to get up the field turf.
He was absolutely whacked in the head on that swim move. And there was no call.
Kimmel now to Abbott for Chesapeake. Rabel's off the turf. Frustrated, but looks okay, trying to shake it off.
And they're keeping Rabel on the field, so they don't want to run him through the box. They just want to keep him on the field as much as possible, so they're going to run their attackmen through the box.
Here comes Abbott. Sweeney's on him. Abbott tries to jam it in. Belisle still fighting for it for Boston. And a flag. It's a slash on John Grant Jr. 1 minute. Man up, Boston. Now, how do they take advantage on the man advantage run.
Well, you know, they just got to keep doing what they've been doing earlier in the first half, just moving that ball. You know, one thing that's been kind of interesting is they've been moving Paul Rabel down below. Even on the power play, on the man up, they've been moving him out toward the outside side. It'll be interesting if they move him up high and try and get some of that high heat like he did on that last two-pointer. And here, on the slash, you'll see it coming up right here. All of a sudden, Grant Jr. is going to take a big whack. Oh, actually, it looked like he got it first.
Sweeney whacked him
It was
first.
retaliation, it looks like.
It was retaliatory. Well, Boston, perhaps a gift.
The wheels of justice sometimes are not fair.
Stone, Posque, couldn't get it on net.
Strong back check.
6-foot pole of Chesapeake's Nicky Polanco. Warrior Defensive Player of the Year a couple times in MLL. Polanco out of Hofstra. Now it's Barney Ehrman, midfield. Comes Sweeney. And another flag flies just at the end of the man up for Boston.
They're calling that a push with possession. Ryan Boyle doesn't like it.
Neither does Steve Duffy.
Nobody likes it on the Boston side.
And we are going to have a timeout. So Boston 12, Chesapeake 12. This has been an up and down affair. We'll see who wins it.
I'm Evan Washburn, host of Inside the MLL, your home for everything Major League Lacrosse. Each week for 30 minutes, we're taking you through the league, recapping what's happened while also looking forward. Along with in-depth features this season, more than any other year, we're bringing you the voices and faces of the game to break down the biggest storylines and also the weekend's biggest games. We really look forward to catching you all season long on CBS Sports Network.
Swim move by the big fella. Uh-oh. Greg Gurenlian down on the turf after trying the second swim move.
This is not how I wanted to end my lacrosse career. I always thought I would go out on my terms. Everyone said I should just call it quits. It would be too hard to come back. But I didn't listen to everyone. I powered through.
Gurenlian charging and he scores! The beast!
I didn't just come back. I was a 2012 MLL All-Pro. I'm Greg Gurenlian of the New York Lizards. How do you power through?
Spectacular goal! Albert looking to be the hero. In front, there's Lowe! He fires and scores! Kevin Lowe! 4 seconds left. Boyle outside the arc. Inside the pass. Quintani! He scores! Max Quintani with a buzzer beater!
Our game summary in a terrific one at Harvard Stadium in Boston. Large crowd watching as their Cannons go for their first victory, tied at 12. And the face-off advantage so huge, Ron Zwerin, for the Cannons.
They've been dominating at X all night long. That's what's really kept them in this game. It's allowed them to, keep sort of that momentum. They've been struggling at face-off X the last couple of weeks. And it's just been a terrific game all along. I mean, Boston's big players have been stepping up and playing well. Chesapeake's big guns have been somewhat quiet. They've been getting a lot of goals from lots of different places. When Matt Abbott's scoring a couple of goals for you, that's not really an expected goal producer.
If you talked to Steve Duffy before the game, you said you could hold Ben Rubier to 1 goal. He'd take that gladly. Big night for Paul Rabel.
It's the other guys you worry about.
That's right.
They have like 5 and 6 guys who can get 3 and 4 goals on you.
Chesapeake with a man up. Release. We are even. Brooks. Just wide of Gable. Had the foot on the 2-point arc. Reset. Chesapeake. Westervelt. Shot. Just wide by Hunt.
When Drew Westervelt has that short stick attackman, he's about 4.5, 5 inches taller than him. I think that he needs to keep going to the net. I mean, so many times he'll get to that 10 by 10 and he'll give the ball up when I think maybe he would just slow things down a little bit more. He might be able to get a higher quality shot off. And if he can start doing that, I think that makes
things dynamically change so much for Chesapeake because other teams are going to have to slide. Right now, nobody slides to him because they know that if he doesn't get to where he wants to be quickly and in rhythm, he's going to give the ball up.
Chesapeake's the biggest team in the league.
They're gigantic. I mean, they're all like 6'3", 6'4", 220, 225. And that's right up the middle. And that's what other teams in this league are trying to do. They want to copy that. Denver's trying to copy it, but Denver has maybe 1.5 midfield lines that are that big and strong. Chesapeake has 3.
They just made the shot clock 45 seconds. That was our momentary delay. As it goes wide.
Heads up play.
Trying to fire.
Sorry about that, John. That's a heads up play by Gable, just knowing the situation.
Here comes Farrell, 6-foot pole. Finds Rabel. 3 goals, including a 2-pointer. He zips it wide. Good idea by Paul Rabel.
Just missed that on the near side. It was so close. He had a great screen. Used Polanco as his shield. Sort of hooked it.
He did. Looked like Rich Carlos, the former Bronco kicker.
Looked like a drive off for me off of number 1.
There's Mike Stone. Errant pass trying to find Buchanan, who hits the deck. And here comes Chesapeake on the reset. Dan Burns approaches midfield. Gets by Boyle with an artful maneuver. And Rabel's down again. Rabel is struggling.
He ran right into Boyle when they were both trying to get the ball away from Rubior as he was crossing midfield. They just smashed into each other.
Dixon. Out of Stephen Brooks, who's a threat. And a good tracking save by Gable.
You mentioned that Chesapeake hasn't given up a goal in the 4th quarter this season, and that still holds through. It's 12-12 as it was right at the end of the 3rd quarter.
Brett Adams with 5:40 to play for Boston. 44 on the shot clock. Now Stone has it.
I mean, these teams have just ratcheted down the defense. Nobody wants to make a mistake. I mean, all of a sudden it was kind of an up and down flow game, and now it's just become this sort of battle royale half-court offense game.
Colin Briggs onto the field for Adams for Boston. Briggs, midfielder from Virginia. Maneuvers now around the arc for Rabel. Rabel. Far side Stone. Stone back to Rabel, wide open. It's saved by Turner. Rabel trying to follow. Can't push it to Boyle, and Rabel goes down, and he gets hit in the back. Paul Rabel has had tough sledding in the 2nd half. He has been hit hard.
He has been getting knocked around this game. And they're hitting him when he has the ball. They're playing him rough. Off ball, they are not giving him an easy go. And that was a lower one right in the lower back.
It's going to be a difficult Sunday for Paul Rabel.
It's going to be a difficult Saturday night for the next 4:33.
Briggs.
I mean,
ball.
You know, they've shortened their bench. And so they've shortened it in such a way that they're actually going to keep him on the field, and he is not right. I mean, he's trying to get his back straight. I mean, this is a situation for Boston that can have lingering effects.
Buchanan. Near side for Stone. And he feeds Boyle.
And Rabel's taking himself pretty much out of the play. He's so high.
Boyle working off a pick from Briggs. Boyle towards the crease. Goal! How about Mike Stone? And great work by the quarterback of the Cannons offense, Ryan Boyle. Set up Mike Stone beautifully.
They were really man down on that goal because Paul Rabel pulled himself completely out of the play, and Chesapeake had an extra defenseman sitting on the crease. But Ryan Boyle is just so patient. As he comes around the backside, look how patient he is. He just waits and waits and waits. He waits for the defense to clear out so that Stone has just a little bit of room to breathe. Gives himself a chance to get a heartbeat shot off.
Stone, the Boston boy from Wellesley and Middlebury College. 1-goal lead, Boston. Adam Moran. Face-off, win. Abbott's got it for Chesapeake. All right, 3:35 remaining, Ron, and the Cannons need to hold on for their first victory. Want to get your keys to the final 3.5 minutes.
Keep doing what you do. Just got to keep going. You can't milk possessions. This game, in this league, these guys are always going pedal to the metal. So you have to keep playing your game. 3:16 is a lot of time. You could have 4 possessions in that amount of time.
And you also have John Grant on your side, and he scores the goal on the crease dive.
That's just, I mean, you laugh because you just can't believe what this guy can do.
That's 37-year-old John Grant Jr. tying it up for Chesapeake. He's playing like a 17-year-old. We got a great one. Who's going to win it?
On the split dodge, right, and he scores! Waleed Hodge wins it for the Young Guns.
ShopMLL.com is your destination for officially licensed Major League Lacrosse apparel. Get all your MLL team hats, t-shirts, shorts, hoodies, and more at ShopMLL.com. Keeping up with Major League Lacrosse has never been easier. Get all the latest news, highlights, and scores right to your smartphone with the MLL app for iPhone and Android. Download yours today.
This telecast of Major League Lacrosse is presented by Coke Zero. 2 amazing things combined to make one super amazing thing. Coke Zero. Enjoy everything. And by Brine, proud to be the official equipment supplier of the MLL. Visit brine.com today. Brine, every victory earned. Cannon's dance squad enjoying what they've seen from Boston. 13-13, 3:12 remaining in the fourth quarter, but John Grant with his 4th goal of the night won't be denied for the Bayhawks.
It's just art. I mean, you have to appreciate it for what it is. And if you love lacrosse, just enjoy this for as long as you can, because he's not going to play forever. And that's just beautiful. I mean, he's diving. You think he's going low. I mean, look, Gable's stick is down low.
And he's going against Mitch Belisle, who's one of the best defenders in the league.
It's just amazing. I mean, it's just a guy who just owns his craft, and he works so hard at it. He's a joy to watch in the indoor league because the space is pretty much non-existent. And in the open field, you can just really appreciate just the flow that he brings to the game.
Eck had the face-off won, but he could not scoop up the loose ball. And with 3:03 to play, we have a timeout. Dave Connell will rally his troops.
You know, he's talking about now, he's looking for matchups because Chesapeake hasn't really exploited the matchups in this fourth quarter as well as they have the rest of the night. And so he wants to make sure that everybody knows where they need to be. He wants to make sure that the field is spaced exactly right. Don't want guys crowding things up too much in the middle. Don't want necessarily be going one-on-one either. And I'll tell you what, don't be surprised if he's setting something up for something around the 2, because they've been shooting a lot of 2s.
Setting up Kyle Dixon, who's in our picture now. Dixon, the best 2-point threat in MLL with 5 2-pointers this year. Sudden death overtime, 15-minute period if we do go to OT. First goal wins. Boston, on the other hand, around second-year coach Steve Duffy, in desperate need of a victory, trying not to fall to 0-4 for the first time in franchise history. Ari Sussman has been a quiet attackman. He was a concern for Dave Caudill before the game. Sussman missing last week against Denver for personal reasons. Rabel on the field with Ryan Boyle and Kevin Buchanan. And
the reason why Sussman is such a concern is because he's just slippery.
Yeah.
You know, he's not. He just kind of gets in space. He kind of just gets in your way, and next thing you know, he has 2 and 3 goals. And so you just wonder, you know, how did he do that? He's just slippery, elusive.
Here's Hunt for Chesapeake. Inside the arc, bounces one wide of Gable. Reset for the Bayhawks. It's John Grant Jr. See what he does this time. Don't let him get in. Behind the back. Oh boy, that's a goal. John Grant, it's his night. What a game he's had. Second game of the season since coming in from the indoor league, and John Grant has his 5th goal in the nifty behind the back maneuver.
You know, you can't have replay in Major League Lacrosse, and I wonder, did that go in? It looked like it's sitting on the outside of the net. You might want to take another look at that, because it almost looked like it was sitting on the outside of the net from our vantage point.
It did, but the official was right there.
Yeah, they were right there. So my sense is that it probably did go in, but no, they're going to look at it.
It is going to be a challenge. Replay is a new rule this year. You can challenge goals.
Yeah, and I think this is not a bad thing to challenge, because there's the over-the-shoulder shot. That looks like it's on the outside. It's on the outside. That didn't go in.
On that look, it is definitely on the outside.
If they give him that goal, I'm going to be surprised, because as Gable flapped at it, as he swung at it, I mean, he just took a swack at it, and that ball went flying. So it was sitting on the outside of the net from our vantage point.
And Steve Duffy is.
But even if they do give it a goal, even if they give it a goal, there's still plenty of time. But let's just see where that ball ends up. That's on the outside of the net. That's on the outside of the net.
Get another look.
That's outside. That's outside of the net.
If they're looking at that view, it wouldn't be a goal, but they got another one evidently because it's a goal.
Yeah, okay. They're saying it's a goal.
Yeah, it's a goal. It's a very strange look at it here, because even in the truck, none of them.
You know what? It did go in.
The net.
You know what? It did go in. Actually, what it did is the net is just loose enough down by Gable's foot that it bounced on the inside, and it was sitting inside the net. The net had too much slack.
Yep. Well, either way, it is a goal for John Grant, his 5th of the night. He also has an assist. 6-point evening. Bayhawks with a 1-goal lead with 2:13 remaining.
And if it's me, 2 guys are touching the ball: Ryan Boyle and Paul Rabel.
Colin Briggs has it now.
Well, I'm trying to find someone like Matt Posque on the crease. I want to get Paul Rabel the ball.
Here comes Briggs. Far side angle. Good save by Turner. But a bad outlet pass by Kip Turner.
Boston got lucky on that. And Colin Briggs is going to learn in this league that you got to get the ball to the guys who can score goals in space, like this guy.
Here's Rabel. Rabel. 3 goals, including a 2-pointer. Boyle back to Rabel. 45 on the shot clock. Boyle going for a hat trick. Buchanan. Now back to Rabel. Behind the back. Spare change for Stone. Stone has a goal. 30 on the shot clock.
Plenty of time. Boston's got plenty of time. Just keep things spaced.
Boyle. Rabel. Towards the crease. Rabel, goal! Paul Rabel. Oh, he has been phenomenal. And he converts to tie it up with a 1:11 to play.
Ryan Boyle and Paul Rabel. In the last minute of the game, those guys are the ones who are touching the ball. Ryan Boyle draws attention on the far side, gives it to Rabel on the near side, and Rabel just wasn't going to be denied. You haven't seen him do this all night long. But this time against Nicky Polanco, he says, well, I'm going inside roll. And once he went inside roll on him, he just, that's knowing your craft. Because look, he just waits a beat before he let it go. Didn't shoot too early at the high of the apex, let himself fall down a little low, and went up high.
He used the hip check to his advantage and went low.
Big face-off here.
That won by Chesapeake. Under a minute to play. Timeout.
So Chesapeake's been struggling at face-off X all night, but when they need one, they come up big.
Timeout Bayhawks. 54.9 seconds left. All right, take us through both huddles here. First Chesapeake and then Boston. As first we'll look at the Cannons' upcoming schedule, and they have a week off before going to Denver. So this is such an important night for many reasons. Not only your first win, you get next week to breathe a little bit, but then you go to undefeated Denver, pending an outcome tonight against Rochester, and the schedule doesn't get easy. You got Rochester after that, and then you're at Charlotte before coming home for a Friday night game against New York, June 21st.
Winning on the road in this league is tough. It's tough because guys are coming in from all over the country. They're flying in late on a Friday night after a long week at work. And so it's tough to win. And if you can get a win on the road for Chesapeake right now, that's a big deal. As far as Boston is concerned, they've got to find a way to win this game. And with 54 seconds left to go, the shot clock is now off. And so Chesapeake has options here. They can run things down until the last 10, 15 seconds, maybe get an alley dodge, some action going towards the goal, or they can run some sort of a pick and get a shot from up and outside. Regardless, they have the opportunity to take this to the very end of the game, because I don't think that you want to turn it over. I don't think you want to give Boston an opportunity to get some action going back towards your end. I think that if you don't score here, you're fine. You'll take this into overtime.
Chesapeake with 30 shots on goal. Boston with 27. 35 ground balls for the Cannons, 24 for Chesapeake. The faceoffs 19 out of 29 in favor of Boston. Chesapeake ball after the timeout.
So early return showed that Stephen Brooks is going to try and take advantage of the short stick. But don't be surprised if Ben Hunt gets into the action. He's been quiet tonight.
The short stick is Brent Adams. Brooks milking the clock. They're going to settle for overtime.
We're going to find out here on the one-on-one drive. See where the slide comes from.
Brooks gets a face shot from Adams. There's John Grant, so dangerous with 5 goals. Grant, oh man, what a move on Belisle. Couldn't jam it in though. Down to 6 seconds to play. Big outlet. Long feed by Gable. It's picked off by Polanco. And we're headed to sudden death overtime. Some bonus lacrosse from Boston. Both teams playing terrific games, and it has been a very competitive encounter. Paul Rabel, an outstanding night. John Grant, equally phenomenal.
I like what Chesapeake did at the end of the fourth quarter. I like it. They had the matchup that they wanted, and they got the ball to John Grant Jr. just with enough time for him to do something. That was interesting. I thought, the way they had things set up early, they were going to have Brooks take the last shot, but at this time they actually gave it to Grant and let Grant try to go to work.
That made it 14-13, and here's Rabel to tie it up at 14 at the 13:49 mark, unassisted.
I mean, Ryan Boyle just patient, finds Paul Rabel, and Paul Rabel against Nicky Polanco. The old veteran against the slowly becoming veteran. And Paul Rabel is just patient enough to tie things up.
We thought Rabel was laboring throughout the fourth quarter with injuries.
I still think he's hurt. I mean, I think that, it's interesting. I mean, I love the indoor game. I love the NLL. I love the art. I love the way guys play. But I think the guys who play indoor and outdoor with such a quick turnaround from the indoor season to the outdoor season, I think guys have a tendency to get hurt because they're two totally different games.
You have the indoor game where space is tight. You're not running quite as much. And then all of a sudden you come outdoor and it's more of a fluid game. But yet it's still just as physical.
And your take on John Grant Jr.'s last chance. Some feisty defending by Mitch Belisle.
Great defense by Mitch Belisle. This has just been a battle all night long. Grant's won a few. Mitch Belisle won that one. And now faceoffs are going to be huge.
Rand and Eck. Eck for Boston, Rand for Chesapeake. Still fighting for it.
You're playing for keeps here. I mean, this is just a big faceoff.
How about Chris Eck with his 20th win and 30 draws. And Eck is fired up. And a timeout, quick timeout call, Boston. Do you like the call by Steve Duffy?
No, I mean, I think it's too early, you know, you got a 10-minute quarter. And I think that Boston's played with enough rhythm that you can trust your guys enough. You got to let them play, I think. I think that if they had a possession and then Chesapeake had a possession, maybe you call a timeout at that point because you don't want to keep going back and forth. But I think that if you think that you're going to win it here, when this game has dictated all night long that chances are that you're not, there's going to be some back and forth here a little bit, this might go a while, I think you got to let guys play.
Upcoming road for the Bayhawks of Chesapeake. Hamilton on June 1st. Marine Corps Stadium in Annapolis. Then they go to New York and Denver and at Charlotte and at Hamilton.
Hamilton's going to be tough. I mean, don't sleep on Hamilton. We talk about Chesapeake and we talk about Boston and Denver. Hamilton's tough. They've got some really, really, really quality young players on that team. And New York is going to be seeking some revenge. They were absolutely thumped 2 weeks ago in Annapolis.
Our MLL standings, Denver, Chesapeake, and Hamilton off to terrific starts. Rochester, New York, all dangerous. As are Charlotte, Ohio, and Boston. That's how competitive the league is. Top 4 qualify for championship weekend in Philadelphia.
Early in the Denver-Rochester game, the Outlaws are up by 1, and New York and Ohio are going at it. New York is enjoying a 2-goal lead right now. That one's late in the third.
It is Southern Death overtime. First team to score wins. Will it be the Cannons? Ari Sussman held scoreless thus far. Sussman behind the net. Determined. Swim move and a crease dive. He couldn't jam it in there, but aggressive, industrious work by Ari Sussman.
That almost ended quick. I mean, that was a strong quality move.
Stone from beyond the arc. Rabel. Will he be the hero?
He has a good matchup with the short stick on him.
Rabel. Nice hold. And he tries to go on the far side. Quick reset by Ryan Boyle. 12 on the Cannon shot clock. Boyle gets pushed on a knife through 2. Boyle, the goal! The Cannons have won it. Ryan Boyle, a hat trick, and the triumphant Cannons swarm them at Harvard Stadium.
That will make SportsCenter's top 10. That was fabulous. What a great way to end the game for Ryan Boyle. There was maybe an 1/8 of a second left on the shot clock when he got that off. Ryan Boyle was telling me earlier today that he feels a little bit older. His body's starting to feel old. He can't dominate games the way he used to. That was pretty dominant. I mean, that was athletic. He said he doesn't feel as athletic as he used to, but he still has it. That was a great move. That was a 1-2 goal.
That by the guy who was the all-time leading scorer in MLL history, Ryan Boyle, as he was hugged by the Cannons owner, Matt Dwyer. What a goal, taking a page out of John Grant's playbook.
He's not as big as John Grant. He's not as strong as John Grant, but he's shifty. And he just knows the game. He just understands that inside roll, that pressure's coming. But the slide was late. It never came. And Boyle just sacrificed the body and gets the game winner.
He got by Michael Evans. Found the back of the net as the Cannons are 1-3. Such a much-needed win for Steve Duffy's Boston Cannons. They dropped Chesapeake to 3-1. Ryan Boyle, the veteran out of Princeton, will be back to talk to many of the Cannons from Boston as their celebration continues. Cannons win by 1 in overtime.
In that order.
Graduation, ready, boys? Who's ready to get the fuck off? Ow! Cancel the it's knocked off! Who's there, Berkeley? Hey, TV would love to talk to you.
Great night in Boston as Paul Rabel and the Cannons win their first game of the season, 15-14 in overtime. With Ron Zwerin, I'm Jamie DePerel. Terrific to have you with us as we head downstairs to our player of the game, Ryan Boyle, the man of the hour with a goal unassisted at 1:26 of overtime. And Ryan,
you got it there.
Congratulations. How did you get it done? Ryan, you're on with us. Can you hear us? Evidently, we're having some technical difficulties. We'll catch up with Ryan in a moment. But Ron, during the break, you told me that this is one of the best games you've ever seen. Why was that the case?
You know, just the situation. I mean, I think that if Chesapeake won, I might not have put it in the top 5. But the fact that Boston won this game, a game they needed, I mean, they don't want to go 0-4. They needed this game. They needed it in front of this home crowd. They're going on the road for 3. And the fact that they played a game, a team game, that they haven't played the previous 3 games, and they were gritty. I liked how gritty they were tonight. I liked how they just never hung their head. Even when Chesapeake went on that little run in the 4th quarter, they kept coming at them. And I liked the way they were methodical in overtime. They didn't panic. I disagreed with Coach Duffy calling that timeout. I didn't think that was the right thing to do. But you know what? It paid off.
And their best players produced.
Yeah.
Ryan Boyle, Paul Rabel, the 2 heroes. Posque had a goal. Boyle with the 3 goals, and we're going to take a look at them right here.
You know, he got things started, just went on around, took that extra step to glory, and then he faked high and went low. You always tell the kids to do that, even in Pee Wee lacrosse. And then right here on the inside sweep, this is the game winner. Just sacrifices that body of his and gets the game-winning goal. And that's the kind of thing that if you start looking at this and you start thinking about the season moving forward, this could be one that you look back on.
All right, let's talk to Ryan Boyle. Ryan, congratulations. We just watched your game-winning goal in overtime. How did you make it happen?
We got into a set, so we tried to get pretty organized. They did a good job of sliding, and then
already kind of carried, and then they started shutting off a lot of adjacents. We got into something, we got a shot off, and then the bottom line is there wasn't a lot of time left, so it was just kind of like, okay, we gotta make something happen and see if we can get a quality shot. I kind of went left and rolled back. Spolina was there, but it's just based on how much time was left on the shot clock. I didn't really have many options, so I just tried to push and get through that, and then was fortunate enough just to kind of tiptoe the crease and kind of reach around Kip there to get it over his shoulder.
Right, and this is one of those games, and this is one of those wins that, can you as a team kind of look back on this and say, listen, we were 0-3 at one point this season, and we played a team that is really one of the better teams in the league. We were gritty.
Yeah, I agree that we were gritty. As far as looking back on a turning point, that just depends on how we play next game. So if we go out and don't play poorly and we drop one, then this is kind of all for naught. So the biggest thing is committing to the process and committing to this level of effort. And if we continue to stay consistent and demonstrate this type of energy and execution, then I think we'll be all right.
All right, Ryan, good luck in Denver in a couple weeks. Nice job.
Thank you very much.
Ryan Boyle, our player of the game with the 3 goals and the 2 points. Our final stats: shots on goal in favor of Chesapeake, but ground balls won by the Cannons 37-24. Better job on the man up. 0 for 4 last week, 2 for 5 this week.
Yeah, the one thing that we're not seeing there are just face-offs. I mean, face-offs were just fabulous tonight for Boston. I mean, Eck was just on his game all night long. At the end of the day, he won 20 of 30. And just did a fabulous job at the X. He just gave Boston those extra possessions.
And Steve Duffy is joining us now, the winning Cannons coach. Coach, always nice to get the first one. Such a big win for you guys. And how did you make it happen?
We talked about at halftime about our offense being in our sets and get everyone getting touches, and even that last possession, we had a lot of guys get a touch. We had some good looks, and that's the key to our success. And I think a lot of teams know that, and they try to take us out of it. And we've just got to work harder to stay in those sets where we were able to get our touches.
Coach, I like the way you trusted your players tonight. Did you just say, "Hey guys, it's your game. Go out and get it"?
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of leaders on this team. We got a bunch of guys that have been in the league a long time. We were 0-3, and a lot of those guys hadn't experienced that before. So, we've had great practices. Even last week before Denver, we had great practice. So it was a matter of us just, focusing and taking care of the ball and just communicating on defense and, converting the extra man. That's a big piece in this league. We knew we were going to get our opportunities, and we knew we had to convert.
All right, Coach, good luck, and we appreciate the help. Enjoy the ride.
Thank you.
Steve Duffy of the Boston Cannons with his 10th career win as the Cannons head coach, and Paul Rabel, runner-up for our player of the game. He had a great night. He was dangerous all over the field, and it was certainly a fun one. Our final score, Boston 15, Chesapeake 14 in overtime. 4 runs wearing our entire crew, including producer Bob Johnson, director Tim DeRoy. In Boston, I'm John Mita Perrell. For highlights of this game and all your MLL videos, subscribe to the MLL YouTube channel. For all your Major League Lacrosse news, visit MajorLeagueLacrosse.com. This has been a presentation of Lax United Marketing and Major League Lacrosse. Good night from Boston.